Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, please consider subscribing, hitting the likes, and hit up the comments if you like what we're doing here today. Today we're going to be discussing my 2005 Audi A6 with the 4.2, and also known as my neglected Audi. And today we're going to be doing 5 things that I do like about this car. I say love at the beginning there on the title because, that's just how it works. Uh, Love and hate are real strong words for what I feel for this car. I really just don't like it overall. But it has its upsides. Now, number 5, the reason I like this car is the room. I've got the seat all the way back and I could just barely comfortably reach the pedals. I am a long guy. I stand 6 feet tall, but I've got longer arms and legs than anything. And it just feels so comfortable, even in this very extended position. The seats are nice and firm. And not just that, but the overall room is awesome. Let me jump into the back seat and I'll give you an example. All right, as you can see, the seat's all the way back. Just for proof, this is forward, then all the way back. It won't go anymore. And even with me being as long-legged as I am, I still got plenty of room here in the back. Got plenty of room for the head. Plenty. I got at least trying to catch it in the rear view there, but I can't. But I got at least another 3-4 inches of head space. Along with that, you got these little armrests here. Makes the ride all that more comfortable. And if I'm really in the mood for it, I can throw on the heated seats. And that's my number 5. All the room. Very spacious vehicle. For what it is. It's only the A6. It's not as long or as roomy as the A8, but you gotta live with what we got. And that's number 5. Alright, for my number 4 of this video is how nice and laid out it is here on the in the cockpit area. Everything is laid out nice and neat, easily accessible. Even though I'm not a big fan of all this tech, it's kind of cool to have. It's just more things to go wrong. At one point you could have had a phone adapter, but who uses car phones anymore? And that's my number 4, the tech. I mean, if you see my other video, you'll notice that I mentioned as a hate all the technology, but it's also a like. Little creature comforts, things that'll come in handy. So some of the stuff on my list will be part of the hate also. It kind of goes back and forth. We all love and hate our vehicles. Number 3, it coincides with the room, is this trunk space. I mean, huge. You can almost fit 2 bodies in there, maybe 3. And there's even a power supply back here. If you watch my other video, tons of power supplies in this vehicle except for auxiliary, but that's okay. That's just my number 3. All this trunk space. I mean, I almost want to squeeze in here just to prove to you guys. Like I said, I stand 6 feet. And here I am inside the trunk. Still plenty of room. I could squeeze another person in here if I really needed to. For those of you guys that live that kind of lifestyle, you can fit plenty in here. My number 2 are these headlights. No crazy reflectors on the side. No weird LEDs that'll fail and I have to replace the whole headlamp housing. Just a dual Xenon, which means you got your high beam and low beam on here on the Xenon side. And like, out of everything that with this car, overall looks, this is the only thing I like about this car is those headlights. And they work great at night. It has the level function. I'm not quite at the point where the year models that have the side to side when you turn your wheel. This one's just up and down. It levels it out. So when you're coming over hills and stuff, it doesn't give you a blind spot. And that's my number 2, the headlights. My number 1 like about this car is this 4.2 liter V8. If I remember from the last time I checked, it's 330 horses and 310 foot-pounds of torque. It's not astronomical numbers. It's not something that turns it into a race car. But when you're on the highway, I mean, it's just great. You can just feel the power, you feel the torque, you know, in the city driving. But on that highway, this is where the car shines. The full power band's at a mid power RPM range, so you can get the power up there very quickly, very easily. And it just adds to the luxury ride. The ones with the smaller engines, the A6s of this year with the smaller engines, and they just don't feel right. It feels like the car is too heavy. But with this, it just feels spot on. It could stand a little bit more power, and from what I understand, the GDI models of this V8 have up to like 350, almost 400, or maybe even some have 4. And that would be, I would love to have that now, but it's not in the cards. But this is my number 1, just a power plant. Great engineering, great performance. So far, it's reliable. This is the first time I've owned this generation of the engine. I've had the previous 4.2 liters, which barely makes 300, maybe does slightly over 300 horsepower. But it's a great performing setup, especially for such a large car. Now this engine, you can find it in the A8, the base A8, the S4. I want to say certain models of the R8, maybe on the first gens, the 4.2, not exactly this for the R8, but it's a 4.2 of type. I think the heads and the block may be a little, or the block is a little different. But it's a pretty solid engine. They throw it in everything. The Q7, like I said, the A8, S4, S5. It's just in everything, so it's fairly reliable. At least here in the States, it's in those models. It's probably in a lot more overseas. So for some of you overseas people, hit me up in the comments. Let me know what model car you have this 4.2 in, or if you guys here in the States have this 4.2 and you have an input on it. But that'll be it for now, guys. That was my number 1. That's my 5 likes about this vehicle. Pretty quick video. I mean, there's not much to like, at least for me. So please hit the thumbs up on those likes. Subscribe, share, and be nice to each other. Be kind, and Audi on.